Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. This time we're taking a look at the Neon Genesis Evangelion Rebuild movies.
Oh, yeah.
We have this really fascinating YouTube video essay breaking down a ton of thought-provoking stuff in the series.
Right.
And I think we can both agree that it's not just some simple remake of the original show.
No, not at all.
There's way more going on.
Absolutely.
And one of the most interesting concepts we found is this whole idea of a loop.
Yeah.
You know, this idea that the characters keep getting reborn and reliving their lives.
Interesting.
It's almost like they're stuck in this cycle, and Kaworu is trying to guide Shinji toward a happier ending each time.
Yeah, that's one of the most, intriguing aspects of Rebuild, for sure.
It is.
It takes everything we know from the original and kind of twists it into the cyclical existence thing.
Right.
Makes you think about things like fate and free will, Can you actually break free from what's meant to be?
Yeah, exactly. And then, on top of that, you see these changes in the characters. Maybe they're actually evolving across these loops or something.
Yeah, possibly.
For example, Shinji in Rebuild, he decides to pilot EVA-01 to save Rei.
Right.
It's a really conscious choice he makes.
Yeah. I mean, if you think back to the original series, he was so hesitant.
He was.
This is completely different.
Totally.
It's almost like he's becoming more aware across loops.
Maybe.
He's not just being dragged along anymore, but actually trying to control what happens.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's carrying some kind of knowledge or intuition with him each time.
Possibly.
That's influencing his choices. And it's not just Shinji. You see this with other characters, too.
Oh, definitely.
Even Masato. Her whole parenting style with Shinji is different.
Oh, for sure.
In the original, it felt kind of distant,
Yeah, it did.
But in Rebuild, she's way more involved.
Yeah. Actually being there for him.
Offering guidance and support.
It almost seems like she's learned from past mistakes, maybe.
Maybe.
Realizing how important it is to be there for Shinji, in a way she maybe wasn't before.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then, of course, we have Mari, who is totally brand new.
Right.
Introduced in Rebuild.
Yeah.
This total mystery wrapped in an enigma.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fan theories about her.
Oh, yeah.
Some think she's connected to Gendo.
Shinji's dad, right?
Exactly. And his whole shady past. Others think maybe she's a time traveler.
Wow.
Or even an embodiment of Yui, Shinji's mom.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's a puzzle that keeps you guessing.
Definitely keeps you on your toes. I mean, some people love Mari. They find her fascinating.
Yeah.
She shakes things up, pushes Shinji and the others in new directions.
Right.
But others find her totally unnecessary. She doesn't really add anything to the story.
Yeah.
They see her as kind of forced in there.
I can see both sides, to be honest.
Yeah.
But regardless of how you feel about her,
yeah,
she's definitely a catalyst for change.
Right.
But at the same time, we never really find out her true motives or where she comes from.
Yeah, it's all kind of vague.
Yeah, and her connection to the atoms and those crazy piloting skills.
Right.
And that knowledge of minus space.
Yeah.
All that stuff hints that there's something bigger going on with her.
Yeah. But we're left to figure it out on our own.
Totally. And that's one of the things that makes Rebuild so compelling.
Not
right?
really.
You have to engage with it. Look for the clues and come to your own conclusions.
Exactly.
There's no easy answers.
You do.
It's this whole multi-layered story that can be interpreted in so many ways. Speaking of which, we should probably talk about the near third impact.
Oh, yeah. That was intense.
The world gets completely wrecked.
Yeah. The visuals are amazing.
Yeah. And it's not just about the spectacle.
Right.
It's also about the psychological damage it put into the characters.
Yeah. Especially Shinji.
Yeah. It's that whole red-tinted landscape is a reflection of his inner turmoil.
Yeah. It's powerful imagery for sure. A visual representation of all that trauma and despair.
Absolutely.
And that sense of loss that just hangs over all the characters.
It's heavy.
It's not just a physical event, it's emotional too.
Totally.
And that connection between the external world and how the characters are feeling inside.
Yeah.
That's something you see throughout Rebuild.
Definitely. And you see it most clearly in Shinji's journey.
Oh, absolutely.
He goes through so much guilt and despair after the near third impact.
Yeah.
He becomes the scapegoat for everything that happened.
It's rough.
Yeah. His relationships with Kaworu and Asuka are tested. And he's forced to really face the consequences of his actions.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff. But what's interesting is he doesn't just wallow in self-pity.
Right.
He starts to take responsibility for things.
Yeah.
He's actively trying to make things right.
And it's not just him wrestling with his past.
Oh, yeah.
His dad, Gendo.
Oh, man.
He's driven by this deep need to be with Yui again.
His wife who's gone, right?
Yeah, to the point where he'll manipulate anyone to make it happen.
Wow. That brings up some serious ethical questions, you know?
It does.
How far is too far when it comes to love?
Right.
And what happens when you start playing God?
Yeah. But, like, while Gendo's actions are definitely questionable, they also kind of highlight the choices the other characters are making.
How so?
Like Asuka, Misato, even Rei, who's basically a clone.
Right.
They all make decisions that are different from what they did in the original anime.
Yeah, they go their own way.
They're actively going against Gendo's plans. They're shaping their own destinies.
It's all about breaking free from those predetermined patterns, you know?
Exactly. And, like, embracing that power of choice.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really key difference between the original Evangelion and Rebuild.
It is.
In Rebuild, the characters aren't just reacting to what's happening around them.
Right.
They're making choices.
Yeah.
Conscious decisions that have real consequences. They're not passive anymore.
Yeah.
They're in control of their own fate.
Absolutely.
And the fate of humanity.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah. And that whole idea of choice, it becomes even more important when you bring in minus space.
Oh, yeah.
That place where everyone's consciousness kind of merges together.
Right.
And reality gets all fluid and weird.
Yeah, like a dreamscape.
Yeah, exactly.
Where anxieties and desires and memories all clash.
It's wild.
It's like all the characters' internal struggles are playing out on this cosmic stage. And Gendo, he tries to use minus space to, like, rewrite reality.
Yeah, through instrumentality, right?
Exactly.
Which could be really bad news for everyone.
No kidding. But minus space, it's not just like some abstract concept.
Right.
It's visually stunning.
Yeah, the animation is incredible.
Like seriously mind-bending stuff.
It really makes you think about how fragile reality actually is.
Yeah, it's like the boundaries between the physical world, what's going on in everyone's heads, just kind of disappear. Yeah. And it's like, Gendo thinks he can control it all.
He wants to reshape reality to fit his own vision.
Which is pretty messed up when you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. But he doesn't get to do whatever he wants.
Right, like Shinji obviously pushes back.
Yeah.
But it's not just him.
Oh, yeah. Other characters step up, too.
They're all fighting for a different future.
A future they choose.
Yeah. And Mari, she becomes really important here.
Yeah, because she can navigate minus space.
Right.
Which is something even Asuka has trouble with.
Yeah.
All those seasoned pilots, they're kind of lost in there.
Makes you wonder what Mari's deal really is.
Yeah, she's a real wild card.
Like, she knows stuff the others don't.
And she's not afraid to use it.
Definitely shakes things up.
Forces everyone to rethink things.
Yeah, and, like, make some tough choices.
Which is interesting when you think about Asuka's journey in Rebuild.
Oh, yeah, she goes through a lot.
Definitely. She has to face her own weaknesses.
Yeah, all this insecurity she hides behind.
But she comes out stronger in the end.
Yeah. She finds a way to accept herself.
Which is a big deal considering how she was in the original.
Yeah.
She was always putting up walls.
So guarded.
But in Rebuild, you see a softer side of her.
Yeah. And her final scene with Shinji.
Oh, man, that was rough.
So much emotion there.
Yeah, like you can tell she has feelings for him.
But she chooses to move on.
Find a better future for herself.
Away from all the pain they've been through.
It's bittersweet, but it's also hopeful.
Yeah, like it shows that you can let go of the past and start over.
Exactly. Asuka finally breaks free from all that self-destruction.
Yeah.
She chooses happiness.
It's powerful. And,
yeah.
You know, Shinji goes through a huge transformation, too.
Oh, for sure.
He's wrestling with so much fear and guilt.
Yeah.
He feels so inadequate.
But he never gives up.
Yeah, he keeps fighting.
For a future where he can be happy.
And where the people he cares about can be happy, too.
Exactly. And it all leads up to that final confrontation with Gendo.
Right.
It's not just a battle between giant robots.
Yeah, it's bigger than that.
It's about their beliefs.
Yeah, like a clash of ideologies.
Shinji rejects his father's negativity.
He chooses to believe in a better future.
A future where humanity can actually break free from all the suffering.
Yeah, and the symbolism of the spears is really important here.
Oh, definitely. Like Gendo with the Spear of Longinus.
Right.
He wants to destroy everything and start over.
And then Shinji with the Spear of Cassius.
He's trying to preserve the possibility of a better future.
Yeah, it's like despair versus hope.
Destruction versus creation.
Yeah, and Gendo's desire for control clashing with Shinji's need for connection.
And happiness.
Exactly. And in the end, hope wins.
Shinji rewrites reality.
No more Evangelions.
Humanity gets a clean slate.
Free from the burdens of the past.
It's a powerful message about the strength of the human spirit. It really is. Like, it shows that even after all that pain, you can still find redemption.
Yeah.
There's always hope for something better.
Yeah. And that even after going through so much, you can still heal and grow and find love.
Absolutely.
And it's all there in that final scene on the beach,
Oh,
you know?
oh yeah. Shinji's finally free from all of it.
Yeah. No more being an EVA pilot.
He can just be a normal guy.
Right. Like he's not carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders anymore.
Yeah, he can finally make his own choices.
And he's not alone.
Yeah, Mari's there with him.
Right. Like she comes out of that portal.
It's a nice moment.
It is. It feels like a new beginning for both of them.
Yeah, they can actually explore their connection.
Right. Without all the baggage from before.
They've been through so much together.
Yeah, it's like they've transcended the whole Evangelion world.
All that trauma and heartbreak, it's behind them now.
And they're walking off hand in hand into this new future.
It's definitely hopeful.
Yeah, you get this sense of optimism. Like even after all the darkness they went through, there's still a chance for happiness.
Yeah, it's a nice way to end things. But it also leaves you with a question.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like if you had the power to rewrite your own past, would you do it? And like what would happen if you did? What would the consequences be?
Yeah. That's a good question.
And it makes you think.
It does. Like about all the choices we make and the things we regret and what we hope for in the future.
Yeah.
It reminds you that you have the power to shape your own destiny, you know?
Even when things are tough, you can still choose to have hope.
And keep striving for something better.
Exactly. The Rebuild series, it's not an easy one to sum up.
It really isn't.
It's complex.
Yeah, it makes you think.
It's like a reimagining of a classic, but it also does its own thing.
Right, like it pays tribute to the original, but it also breaks new ground.
Yeah. And the visuals are incredible.
The animation is top-notch.
Epic battles, deep philosophical ideas.
It's all there. But at its heart, it's really about what it means to be human.
Yeah. All the love and the despair.
And the choices we make that shape our lives.
And even though it leaves a lot of questions unanswered, it ultimately offers a message of hope.
Yeah. Like no matter what you go through, you can always come out stronger on the other side.
And you always have the power to choose your own path.
So if you're looking for something that will challenge how you think about Evangelion and leave you pondering some big questions, I highly recommend checking out the Rebuild movies.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
Definitely. And remember, there's no one right way to interpret it.
Yeah, find your own meaning in it.
Yeah, embrace the ambiguity.
Think about the complexities.
And come to your own conclusions.
The journey is just as important as the destination.
Well said.
Yeah.
And on that note, thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.